let's talk about goal setting. Now, the most important thing that we need to know about goal setting when we're talking about social media is that our social media goals need to tie back to our overall business goals. One of the biggest disconnects that we have in business today, where social media marketing is concerned, is that the people that are setting the goals at a high level and the people that are executing on social media are disconnected. So we have persons executing on social media without knowing what the goals are, how the business are. So whatever you do on social media, it is not impacting the business goals. And then we start hearing statements such as, social media doesn't work. All right? So our social media goals must tie back to the overall business objectives. That's the key thing, that's the most important thing, which means that we must know what the business objectives are. Away from social media now. What are we trying to accomplish as a business, as a non-profit, as an organization? What are we trying to accomplish? Right? So that's the first thing that we need to pay attention to. The next thing is our goals, and I'm not even going to elaborate on that too much, but our goals need to be SMART. I think by now we all understand and know what SMART goals are. Specific, measurable, attainable, and time-bound, timely, however you want to say it. Right? So that one is clear. And we also want to diversify our goals, just like we do in business. You know, we have our short-term goals, our medium-term goals, and our long-term goals. The same thing here. We want to diversify our goals and have a mix of short-term and long-term goals, as well as we want to have goals for the different areas of our social media strategy. So, for example, we need to have goals for our advertising, which we're going to talk about more about, for our content, for our engagement. So do we want to get a 5% engagement on our posts based on our following? So as you can see, there can be goals based on the different areas of the strategy that we're using. All right? Key performance indicators. So when we're talking about our KPIs, I wanted to determine our KPIs. The first thing is our KPIs need to align with our goal, and our goal need to tie back to our overall business goal. Right? So we want to identify the metric that directly relates to our goal. So if, for example, you say that your goal is to increase brand awareness, then what is that KPI that you can track to measure brand awareness? You might say, okay, well, we're going to look at whether we're getting impressions or whether we're getting new followers. Now, in many cases, we have a situation where people focus heavily on, let's say, impressions, which is not something that we always want to do, because the truth is impressions could be what you call a vanity metric, right? It doesn't really tell you anything. Impressions is just the number of times that your content shows up in somebody's newsfeed. So if you have high impression but low engagement, it means that it's showing up in the newsfeed, but they're not engaging, which can tell you, okay, maybe the content is crap. People don't want to engage with it. However, if what we measure is brand awareness, then impressions then become a factor to pay attention to. The next part is we want to choose both qualitative and quantitative KPIs. So our quants are our numbers-based KPIs, or our numerical metrics, such as your engagement rate, your click-through rates, while your quant focus on the quality of the interaction. Was it positive? So do we have positive sentiment? Are our customers satisfied? When people leave a review, are they leaving positive reviews? That's our quantitative KPIs that we're looking at now. Not just, we have a 10% engagement rate, but we want to look at whether or not people are saying good things about us. And then when we're looking at our KPIs, we need to monitor and adjust as well. So, review the KPIs and adjust them as they need it, as you need to. Now, how many of you have heard about something called the buyer's journey or the customer journey? Yes, well, I'm pretty sure you would have. Yes. Anybody else have heard about the buyer's journey or the customer journey? All right. So the buyer's journey or the customer journey, as the name suggests, is the journey that a customer goes through until the final purchase of your product or your service. Now, when somebody decides to buy something from you, in many cases, they would have gone through a particular journey, a particular process. Right? And we have to understand that journey or that process and be able to engage with our customers at every step of the way in the buyer's journey, on their journey to getting your product or your service. Because remember, somebody might buy something from you. They might be passing by and they see you selling water. By the way, there's water on the table. So they see you selling water and they decide, okay, well, I'm going to go buy this water from you. And you might think they bought the water because they saw you selling the water. But it could be that maybe they had an initial encounter. They became aware of your brand of water from maybe something that you posted on social media. And then it was further strengthened because they saw somebody else drinking that water. So now when they see you selling the water, they're like, it triggers. Oh, they saw you on social media. They saw their friend drinking it. Okay, so then maybe I could get that water. And you might be thinking that, oh, they made that decision because they saw you there. And you might attribute that sale to you being there. But really, that sale started 3 weeks ago when you posted a particular content on Facebook. So we need to understand the customer journey or the buyer's journey. So the buyer's journey is a process that a person goes through from becoming aware of a problem or a need that they have to considering various solutions and then finally making a decision. It typically consists of 3 stages. Now, you will find buyer's journey that have like sometimes 5 stages. But we're not going to complicate the thing today. All right? So we're gonna keep look at the 3 stages. So the first stage is the awareness stage. And at that stage, the customer realizes that they have a problem or a need. Now, they may not know much about the different solutions that are available. All I know is that I have this particular need and I am looking for information and guidance. With social media now, we have to find a way to create content that addresses, that targets the customer when they're at the awareness stage of their journey. They don't know about it yet. But all they know is that they have a particular need, they have a particular pain point. Right? They have a birthday coming up and they need a cake. They don't know who's selling cake. Right? They go on social media, they see somebody post a cake. They see cakes by GV. They're like, okay, well, let me check that out. Right? Awareness. Consideration. That's the next stage. Now, in this stage, the potential customer, they have a better understanding as to what their problem and what their needs are, and they're actively seeking solutions. They're comparing products, so they said, okay, well, we have cakes by GV, cakes by Kimron, and they're comparing solutions. They're looking at the reviews that you have, right? And they're considering the options. And they realize, okay, well, cakes by GV seems to be the one that everybody likes, that everybody is giving a positive review on, and okay, well, seems legit. Now, and the next stage now is where they make the decision. So at that stage, the potential customer is ready to make a purchase. So they narrow down the option and they're looking for that final push to choose one solution over the next. So they're looking at, they realize that the two options for the kicks are kicks by GV or kicks by Kimron. Now, they're looking for that final to make that purchase. So what we have to think is, when we are creating content, are we going to go deeper into content and everything, right? This is just the kind of overview for now. We'll go deeper into this. But when we are creating content, we have to think about how do we create content based on the stage in the journey that a customer is on. So we have to create content that creates awareness about us as a business or about the product or services that we're selling. So that every time we have to post, oh, buy my cake, buy my cake, buy my cake. We have to create content to let people know who we are. And then once we start creating content that let people know who we are, then we have to create content so that people can have a better understanding as to how our product or our service will alleviate their pain. And then we want to make the final push to say, okay, well, we normally, for our social media customers, we normally give a 10% discount, whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying when we go into the buyer's journey, that's how we need to be thinking, right? So how does social media affect the buyer's journey? At the awareness stage, social media introduces your brand to people. That's ultimately what it does. So you provide valuable content to address the needs or other problems. So we engage with users at this stage, and we have discussions surrounding using different topics, different hashtags. We participate in industry-related groups, for instance, that we can jump in just to really help people who are just starting the buyer's journey. Because really and truly, this stage is the awareness stage. At the consideration stage, social media can influence that stage by showcasing your products, your services, highlighting your unique selling points, what's different about you versus the customers. You can share, customer testimonials, demos, educational content to help potential customers understand why your solution is the solution that they should be considering, right? And then at the decision stage now, that's where social media can help tip the scale in your favor to get people to make that decision to choose you. And that's where you can provide, for example, maybe special promotions, offers, exclusive deals for your followers, and so on and so forth. And the next part is you can then showcase any kind of customer testimonial that you have, provide exceptional customer service by responding to them on time, and so on and so forth. So when we start thinking about social media, start thinking about our customers, think about the journey that they're going through, right? And how do we then measure success? The success of our social media. And now at any point, if you have any questions, you can always stop me, and then we can address whatever questions that you might have. So, how do we measure success? Because if we're not measuring the success of our social media program, then how do we know that we are being successful? One, we want to track things like our engagement. So tracking, likes, comments, shares, mentions, to understand how well our content is resonating with our audience. A high engagement typically means that, the content is valuable, it's engaging, people are finding, people are really getting something from it, right? And when you want to measure, let's say, your engagement rate, and engagement rate is measured by your total followers divided by, your engagement, So if you have like 15 engagements on a post, that divided by your impression or your total followers. And that will give you your engagement rate to get, a better picture. An average engagement rate is about 2%, believe it or not. And then we want to look at reach and impressions. And some of these things could be vanity metric again, right? So we have to be very careful when focusing too much on them. So reach is the number of people that actually sees your content, so unique people. So if I see it twice, that's just one reach. Impressions is the number of times your content is shown in somebody's newsfeed. So if I see your content in my newsfeed 10 times, that's 10 impressions, but one reach, right? So when you monitor these metrics, it helps you to understand how far your content is spreading and if you're actually reaching your target audience, right? The next part is you want to track your follower growth. Sometimes we get carried away with follower growth though. And we go and sometimes we buy fake followers and we do all type of nonsense just to inflate our following. And that is highly unnecessary. That's something that we should not be doing, period, right? So we want to keep an eye on our follower count to gauge the success of the brand, but that should be organic. It should be organic growth. Or if you're running ads, then that works too. But it shouldn't be you wouldn't buy fake followers from some kind of troll farm in the Philippines, right? So that's something that we have to pay a particular attention to. Click-through rates is another critical part of the what we should be tracking when we're measuring success, right? So if we are sharing links in particular to whether it's our websites, our blogs, any kind of landing page that we have, tracking the number of clicks that we get, it will help us and understand how effective our content is at driving traffic. So if we're posting a bunch of a bunch of links on, let's say, Facebook, and nobody's clicking on them, then we might have a problem. Yes, so you can track so within the back end of all the social media platforms, the analytics will tell you that. Right? It will tell you what is the click-through rate. And if you're running ads, again, it will tell you. So it will tell you how many clicks that you have. And so click-through is when somebody click on, let's say, a link, and it takes them to the website. While a click could be them clicking on a post. So for example, if somebody clicks on your poster link and they just click maybe to expand the caption to read a little bit more, but they didn't click on the link and go onto the website, that's not a click-through. It's a click. You just click, but click-through is when you actually go from one place to the next.
And it used if you have like a flyer.
Yes, if you have a flyer or just a static image and somebody click on it, that's a click. It's not a click-through because there's also the click-through too, right? And then we want to look at also our return on investment, because if we are invested in our social media marketing efforts, then there must be a return on that. So we calculate our return on investments by comparing, let's say, the revenue that we will generate from our social media marketing efforts to the total time cost on a whole. So that's time, efforts, resources, ad spends, and that will help us determine the overall effectiveness of our strategy. And that is provided that we are using social media to drive revenue. Because in many cases, we're not selling directly online, right? So we have a business and we're selling. However, it's sometimes the product is not exactly online where somebody could buy there. So social media platforms. It's very important when we are looking at social media that we understand the different platforms that we have available to us. Because that is what will determine the success or the failure of our overall strategy. If we don't understand the platforms themselves, then we might be using them wrong. Each platform is different. Facebook is not Instagram. Instagram is not TikTok. And TikTok is not Twitter. Each platform has its own its own unique nuances, its own context. Some of them even have not some, all of them have their own image size requirement, for example. And there are some little technicalities of each platform that we need to understand if we are to use social media effectively and efficiently. Now, you might think to yourself that a user is a user, right? You might say, well, I use Facebook, and I use Instagram, and I use TikTok, and I am the same person. So you might think, well, it doesn't make sense to think that, oh, we have to look at all the platforms separately because it's the same me that's on the platform. While it might be the same you that's on the platform, our mindset when we are on different platforms is different. So when I am on LinkedIn, I am looking for a particular experience when I'm on LinkedIn versus when I'm on TikTok. When I'm on TikTok, I am looking for another type of experience. So we have to understand that. When you are in, let's say on a cruise with your friends, you behave one way. And when you are in church, you behave a different way. But you're the same person, right? It's the same thing with social media. We behave according to the platform that we're on. And that's why he put it, as a matter of fact, Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the leading social media experts in the world, he said that what we need to understand is something called platform and culture. He said that once we understand the platforms themselves, and once we understand the cultural context within which we operate, then we can create content based on our cultural context that can be applied to the platform that we are using. Oh, Gary V. Here, Garyvee. He speaks about platform and culture, understanding platform and culture. So, what are some of the general best practices for the platforms? Now, one, we have to understand. Well, you know what? Before I even go there, the first thing is to know that we have to respect social media and the platforms themselves. All right, that's the first thing I want you to understand.